to the telephone, and if you click on that, and I'll just click on, I guess it's 1030, there are to do, again, very similar window, and if you type in the subject line and hit save, that's going to be light blue. So this does have the ability to track all of your touch points. And while I'm wrapping up the ribbon at the top, you also have the ability now to email right out of BRAINWORKS. And that's the mailbox that is, again, going left to right. This does not have a client email address, so what we're going to do is I'm going to add it, and I'm just going to add my email. And I got to hit save first. So if I click on the email box, it's going to bring up client send email, and the to line will have any email address that's associated with this, including contacts that you will put in, and I'll wrap up with that. But right now, if you're viewing it, you'll see I added my email address. So you can actually send emails right from BRAINWORKS in the system, where you can type in a subject line, you can attach stuff, you can type in the notes field, whatever you want to say to the client. And if you hit send, I've already tested this, this will work. The fax we do not have set up yet. The send letter, if you click on send letter, I do have a letterhead that you can select. I will do a little bit more work on this, where it will actually bring in, when you open it, you have to click on edit. It will bring in the name and address into the letterhead, so that already is typed in for you. But for those of you watching the screen, you'll see that it opened up a letter which you can then put your contact info in and print, save it as a PDF or a Word doc, and then go back in when you click on send email, and you could attach that. And the point of all of this is to try to get you to do all of your work, all of your touch point work with your clients inside of BRAINWORKS, because that email, if I would have sent it, that letter, if I would attach it and send it, that's all going to be logged in here. That way, again, as you inherit accounts, you can look back through and say, okay, what did the other former rep pitch? What was the conversations about? And also then for the accounts that you have, knowing that now with the last round of territory adjustments, you've got, many of you, a lot of accounts. And so it's just going to be very difficult for you to remember everything that you have done or said or emailed. And unless you're really organized within Thunderbird or Outlook or whatever you're using, this makes it a lot easier to go back and say, oh, did I pitch so-and-so Chess 360, and or was I supposed to follow up with them, and so on. So that's the goal, is to try to use this to track all of your touch points. It's a pain in the butt at first until you get used to it and make sure that I've got the bugs worked out, the Gmail sync works, but over time, as I mentioned at the regional sales meeting, you'll really come to rely on it. For those of you that haven't, you need to do TST tickets or reach out to John or Paraguay or Jim Askunis to get moved over to the new server. The speed is better. Obviously, as we split up the BRAINWORKS users, you'll notice it won't be as speedy, but it will be better than what you're currently experiencing. I'll guarantee you that. Any questions before? Well, let me wrap up on the contacts, how to load a contact.
Hey, Dan,
go ahead.
just real quick. Renee's got a question. when you did the last thing that you were doing with the email and the letterhead, where did you click first?
Up in the ribbon at the very top where you have the handshake, you have the phone call, the telephone, you have the tasks. There's a mailbox icon.
There's the mailbox.
And it will only work if there's an email address either in the email on the account or if you've loaded a contact. And then that'll pop open an email.
It's the one that says send email.
Correct. And eventually you'll be able to fax from here if that's the next icon. Looks like a little fax machine. And then the envelope would be the send letter. And that has a template there right now.
So if there's an email address already in this account, it should have popped up in the email?
Correct. Either in the contact or in the email that accounting uses.
Okay.
Yep. And I don't know if you have the ability to edit that. I do, but if you type it in, hit save, you can save it there. I'm going to wrap up with how to add a contact. In the lower right-hand corner, there's a button called Contacts. You click on that, and that'll show you any other contacts that are attached to this account. We don't use the contact information on the main screen. That's what accounting uses. So this is really meant for the people you deal with. And so I will add a button, click on the Add button, and that pops up a window where you put in the contact information for who you deal with. So we have some in there when we did the brand basics. You'll recall we asked people to fill out their contact information and add services, loaded that. But you really want to do this as well because it'll enable you to take advantage of some of the other features such as sending them email and so on. So you want to put in the name, address, and anything that you can get on them. This is also where, if you're looking at the screen, you'll notice there's a no fax, no email, no mail, no phone button, so that as we start to do email blast using this through a third party, if they opt out, this is where I click to opt them out of future emails, and legally we have to do that. So if I grab an email from BRAINWORKS to send out a solicitation like for the Blender seminar, it's a manual process right at the moment because we use a different email company to send our emails. And then you'll notice that there's a notes box over here, which again, you could type in some comments about that particular person, and then you would hit save, and you can add as many additional contacts. So you might have one person that you deal with that's the owner of the company, and then you got somebody else that you deal with that on a day-to-day basis for ad material and so on. So that's very helpful.
And this only pops up when we click on the contacts button?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The contacts that we put in will only appear when we click on the contacts button in the lower right?
That's correct. And so we have some in already, but this is something you would need to do. So you want to take essentially your Rolodex or whatever you're using now and put those contacts in here. I also have the ability to run a report where I can show you people that are accounts that have contact information and those that don't. But if you call them up, just over time you want to add your contacts in here. Okay, a little rocky as they always are when you do video training, but questions on anything we covered? So I've got Nancy, Brian, Renee, and Margaret to double check the Gmail sync. Otherwise, if we would like you to start.
Would you add Jerry to that as well?
Okay.
Dennis, can you add me? It's Liz.
Liz, okay.
Hey, Liz.
I will call each of you because I will need your Gmail